Welcome to Egg
and Bean
Podcast. I'm Sunny.
And I'm Nathan.
And welcome to our podcast where we talk about the growing pains in life.
Then we bandage it up and transport.
That's right. Let's see if two EMTs can even do that.
No!
So today we thought we would do a little fun, cute topic. And we're going to talk about our favorite childhood movies.
Yay!
Yeah.
That sounds exciting.
So, Nate, what are some of your favorite childhood movies and why?
So, I really liked adventure stuff. So, my favorite movies are like Atlantis or Treasure Island or the Rugrats movie.
The oldies.
The old...
But the goodies.
Call me old.
You're showing your age here a little bit.
Yeah, those are way older.
Yeah.
Those are older movies. But I love them because they all have like a good message. What about you? What are your favorite movies as a child?
As a child. So I am not too much younger than you, but I did not watch many of the classics that most kids, I guess, of our generation watched.
Why?
I would say, well, my parents were very strict on screen time. And if
workbooks.
and if we did go see movies, it would be to the theaters and stuff like that. So it was whatever was out, yeah. And occasionally, back when Blockbusters still existed.
Now you're showing your age.
Yeah, I am showing my age, unfortunately. But back when Blockbuster still existed, we would go rent movies, but a lot of the movies that we rented were not, older. Sometimes. But, yeah. But my favorite childhood movies were Up.
Okay.
Makes me cry.
The first 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So
and
sad.
Do you know how many times I've seen Up?
No.
I've seen Up about at least 10 times. And it's not because I chose to stream it 10 plus times. It was because back in the day when my mom would go grocery shopping at Costco or in Taiwan, their version of Costco, in the in the TV section, the aisle, they would always show movies, right, on the TV. So she would just go about her shopping and me and my brother would stand there like this.
Just like a robot.
Just watch the movie. And there were times where we were there for so long. Don't ask me why we were there for that long. But we would see that movie almost twice.
Twice.
Yeah.
Nice. Mm-hmm. Not you crying in the middle of the Target aisle.
Yeah. Like, my mommy left me here.
Why crying?
And another one is Ratatouille.
Ooh,
I love
Ratatouille. Huh?
Yes, Ratatouille. I love that one so much. I have a lot of memories and lessons and everything with that movie. So,
I love that movie.
Yeah, it's a very good movie.
Anyone
can cook.
I love that because I can cook and I love it.
Yeah, I can't cook, but I can.
You can't. Anybody can.
I can, but not everyone
should.
should.
Are you good at it? No,
yeah,
but
not
you
everyone
can.
should cook. So, what lessons, you said that they taught you a lot of lessons. So what were those lessons?
So one movie in particular, I didn't mention it in the first part, but it's called Iron Giant. Mm-hmm. Have you seen the Iron Giant?
No, I haven't.
You need to watch this movie. So basically it's about a little boy and his alien robot friend.
Okay.
And this robot, it's so nice and super kind, and he's just a kind giant,
Yeah.
And the whole movie, it's just them protecting each other from like the government because they want to get his technology. But at the end, the robot sacrifices himself for the little kid. But he made it.
Oh, okay.
He made it. But it's such a good movie because it shows how, although like he's a big scary monster, like what matters is what's on the inside. Mm-hmm. So I like that. I
think that was a great take on it. Of course, like people probably have different takes on the same movie, but I really like that one. How old were you when you watched that?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I was like 8 maybe.
Why'd you respond that way? I don't know.
Because most of my childhood is a blur. So if you ask me how old I was, I'm like, I don't know.
That's true. Plus you looked older than you actually were. What was that story where you were in kindergarten, but people thought you were in third grade or something?
So what I struggled with a lot when I was a kid
Yeah.
is I was a big kid.
Yeah.
I was huge.
Yeah.
I was in
huge.
kindergarten. I looked like I should have been in third or fourth
Yeah.
grade. And it just affected the way people would view me and treat me.
Yeah.
Like I was 5 years old. I looked like a big kid, but I was still acting 5.
Mm-hmm.
So people would judge me. People would look at me. And then my mom would be like, hey, stop acting like that. It doesn't look good.
Yeah.
I'm like, what do you mean?
You're like, I don't know about that. Do you think these childhood movies influenced your imagination and your creativity?
Yeah, so I love adventures and I love movies that just use your imagination or exploring stuff. So the big one that I really liked was Atlantis. So that one was them trying to find the lost city of Atlantis. And it was so cool just seeing their journey. And then at the end, they find it.
Yeah.
The guy falls in love with one of the girls.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the end, they realize why Atlantis was hidden because they're so like technologically advanced and stuff like that. And people from the outside world want to get that. So they also protect themselves
Yeah.
I guess there's a theme in these movies, huh?
Yeah. And it seems like you like the adventure. You like the protecting role of the main character. Do you think that influenced the kind of person you wanted to be? Yeah, a little bit.
Now that I think about it, yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Because I am always that kind of person where I take care of others.
Mm-hmm.
And whether I show it or not, I'm always just watching out for people
Right.
and just making sure they're okay.
I think that my lack of screen time, I don't know if that affected my creativity or imagination, because as a kid, I was not very creative and imaginative in the way that we usually define it. I was raised to be a very analytical kid. I did not have much room for imagination. You know, I wasn't one of those kids that had an imaginary friend. Or, yeah, I wasn't one of those kids who had fake scenarios in my head. And, you know, how kids will take toy cars and pretend to fight each other, or, you know, figurines and fight each other. I
Yeah.
never did that.
Really?
Ever, you know? I never really thought like that. And I think it's largely due to my father, you know, teaching me to be very analytical and to see things for how they are. Maybe partially it was my natural personality, but I will say what I got out of that was he was huge on innovation. So that, in a sense, is kind of like creativity. You know, it was my version of creativity where he would ask me, okay, so are there any things in this world that you think need to be fixed? Or do you see a problem in the way something works, you know? And then if you find that problem, how do you fix that? What would you invent to fix that?
Okay, I really like that.
Yeah, so he fostered a lot of innovation and analytical thinking in me, but not so much the creative way, imaginative way that I think most people think of when they think of kids, especially. I never liked things that weren't realistic. Even to this day, I love movies, stories, books, anything, TV shows that are realistic.
Anything nonfiction you don't like?
No, it can be fiction, but it has to be realistic. Does that make sense? So it can be a fictional story, it never happened, but it
fiction.
could have actually happened.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
but if it's like a super sci-fi, like wizards and
You don't like that?
I don't know. I just have never connected with it because I like things that seem applicable to me.
I think that's what I like about those movies
Yeah.
is that nothing is applicable to
Right.
me, and I get to just go on their adventure.
It's very interesting, right? I think it shows a lot in who we are as people, because I'm a very what's right in front of me, how can we solve this problem, how do we relate this back to my own life, right? I love stories where it's a real world example and almost a possible solution to problems or struggles that I'm having in my own life.
Okay.
Because to me, yes, you can pull lessons and, lessons basically from these movies that are very fictional and not realistic.
But you have to interpret them yourself.
Right, but it seems like when I interpret it in my mind, it's not a valid solution because it's so fake.
Like there's no way to apply it to your real world
So it's
issues.
for example, using your example, this guy goes and saves this little boy, right? This robot goes and saves this little boy. There's a good lesson to that. I agree. But in my opinion, me watching a documentary on how Michael Jordan became one of the best basketball players and all the work that he went through in his journey, that's way more applicable, right? To me, that goes, he stepped up every day, went to practice, gave it his all, motivated all his teammates and everything.
So I see how it could be good at our age, but as a kid, you were also like that.
Yeah.
That's so weird.
It's very weird. I was a weird kid.
You nerd.
Yeah, I was a nerd. I think also because my parents never really let me out of the house. I loved realistic novels, but fictional, but they were realistic, involving girls or characters in middle school or high school.
So you would live
through
vicariously.
them. Yes, vicariously.
I said it right.
The story behind that is, we know the story, but Nate clearly didn't know what the difference between vicariously with a V and bi-curious with a B.
It sounded the same to me.
Boy. But yeah, vicariously through these characters, and if they were too fantastical, they weren't relatable. I wanted to know what it was like to be a teenager, like this girl in high school who was doing all these things and with her friends and these relationships, because I didn't really start dating until high school. So I think in middle school and especially early high school, even though I did, started a little bit, but I don't know, those don't count. A lot of those relationships don't count, But
No.
I would live through them,
Okay.
I lived through these books. And yeah, same with movies, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I never really expected your side of the story to be
Yeah.
like that.
I know.
It's a little depressing, but
Is it depressing? Why is it depressing?
I don't know, because I feel like I enjoy watching those movies and stuff. I do like watching documentaries and stuff like that. But when I want to do something fun, I just want to watch adventure stuff.
Yeah, we're very different because I really rarely nowadays watch things for fun. I think even the most recent thing I watched recently was the Michael Jordan documentary. And even with that, I picked it because I was lacking a bit of motivation recently. And I remember my brother constantly talking about this documentary because, he's an athlete and he always references it. And I thought, I'm going to watch this and see what I can get out of this.
Nice. And what did you get out of it?
I got a little bit of pettiness used in the right way might not be the worst thing in the world.
It's not.
It's not. So in his situation, he took it to a bit of an extreme. He went, I'm not saying that this basketball player isn't a threat, but to compare me and this basketball player, I took offense to that.
Dang.
So he just bullied him in front of, bullied him on the court in front of 20,000 people.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And, that's a small part, but, he channeled that. He would create these narratives in his head where he would feel slighted by you. He'd be convinced that you were, you said, hey, nice game. Oh, you said nice game? That's rude. I'm going to show you.
What you mean by that?
I'm going to show you nice game. And then just obliterate them on the court, right?
Nice.
Obviously, I don't take it to that extent, but I think it's hard to get on my bad list, honestly.
Uh-huh.
But if you're on my bad list, then
That's it. Game
That's
over.
it. It's kind of game over. I don't think I'm going to be vengeful and go out to hurt you. I would never do that. But I use it as my motivation to be successful because success is the best revenge. And I actually have a particular someone's name somewhere on my bulletin board. And I wake up every morning and that's what I see.
Gives you motivation.
Gives me motivation to get through my day. And, you know, of course I have other sources of motivation, but this is a good one. And I realized that I kind of felt bad about it. I was like, what's wrong with me? But, you know,
no, don't feel bad about it.
I think a little bit of it is okay, especially because I'm not harming anyone. You know, it's for my own.
It's like nothing wrong with you. What's wrong with them, you know?
Yeah. And another thing in it was, you know, he never asked his teammate to do something that he never did himself. And I
like that.
Yeah. And I think that was very telling of him as a player, but also him as a leader, as a captain of the team. And if he set his mind to something, he did it. And it was a very good documentary for me, given the moment. But what I'm trying to point at is I tend to watch things if I have a problem. So if I'm struggling with friendships, then I want to watch something that talks about friendships. It doesn't have to be a documentary. It can be a K-drama about friendships, a friend group, right? If I'm having trouble with struggles in art, like my career or motivation or anything, I try to watch something that can inspire me.
Okay.
I want something that can inspire me. Yeah.
What is something you recommend to watch for inspiration?
For inspiration, the Michael Jordan documentary. But one K-drama that I watched a little bit ago that really moved me in terms of my perspective on life was this Korean drama called Move to Heaven.
That's the one you told me to watch,
Yes.
and I never finished.
You never finished it, and this is why your life hasn't changed.
I'm so sorry.
You would be so happy right now. You would be flourishing in life if you had watched it.
What? I'm not flourishing right
You
now?
are flourishing. I'm so sorry. My bad. But you'd be flourishing more. You would be.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, you
Okay,
would be excelling more in your life if you watched it.
Nice.
But I really liked this one. It was very life-changing for me. I think it was very good at portraying characters as good and bad, as who they are as a human. You know, a human is a human, and yes, some people lean more on the bad side and some lean more on the good side, but we all do good and bad things, right? We all have mistakes. We all do good deeds to a certain extent, but it was very good at even portraying the quote-unquote bad characters as human beings. And you may not necessarily obviously agree with what they did, but you can almost understand where they're coming from, yeah. And just the simplicity of life and the complexity of it. Just a lot of dichotomy was happening.
That's really cool because most shows or movies, they make the bad character somebody you want to hate.
Yeah.
But making the character like a bad character relatable, that's really weird. Like,
yeah,
it's cool. I like that.
It's relatable because I think we all ultimately have to realize no one is 100% good or bad, right? We're all a different mix of it. We're all trying to iron out some of the wrinkles, you know? So, yeah. I think that movies and books, TV shows really shape my values and perspectives. Do you think they do for you?
I believe it does. It does have like an influence because, like you said, a lot of the movies that I see or liked was someone doing like an heroic act or protecting others, and I feel like it really did make me the person that I am today.
Yeah.
I think we talked about it in one of the first episodes that I like to take bits and pieces from different characters and make it my own.
Right.
So in a way, that is who I am.
Do you think it affects your perspectives on things? I mean, you earlier had mentioned that in Atlantis, he saves this girl and he falls in love with her or something. do you think the shows and movies you watched as a kid shaped your type of women? Well, who was your crush growing up?
Selena Gomez.
Okay, no, like, sure. In Wizards of Waverly Place?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay,
Wizards
that's
of
fair. That's a
Waverly
good
Place.
one. What about cartoons?
Cartoons. So you want to know something?
No, I
Weird.
don't.
Okay.
I
Cool.
don't want you to talk.
Cool. Thanks.
I'm just kidding. Keep going.
Okay, so there's always a character in every show that's a goth girl.
And you like the goth girl.
I was like, damn, what's up, mommy?
What's up, mommy? Let me put that Riz on.
Don't worry, let me put my what is it?
Your what? Color?
Like just all black clothing. Just emo clothing.
Your emo clothing?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me Riz you up. Let me put on a black cape too while we're at it.
Yeah. What
Do you
about
have
you?
specific ones?
Specific ones?
Yeah.
There's a movie, a show from Disney Channel called Kim Possible.
Oh, the girl with the black
Shigo?
hair?
Shigo?
I think a lot of people can relate to that. I mean, I thought she was really, like, pretty.
But I just like, because she was like badass. You know?
Yeah. She was a go-getter.
Yeah, I
Nobody
like
could
that.
stand in her way. Yeah.
I like that. I like a strong, powerful woman, you know?
I mean, see, that's what I'm kind of saying is that's the kind of women you like, you know, in real life. In real life. Let's not get it twisted here. So, yeah, I'm very similar. I've started to kind of piece together a lot of the similarities in the characters I like. I was always very fascinated by the Sherlock Holmes, you know.
Oh, I love Sherlock.
I love Sherlock.
That
right?
British broadcasting channel, that one was good.
Benedict Cumberbatch. Oh,
Yeah, Cucumber.
Cucumber Batch. I have always been very into those kinds of characters.
Okay.
The ones that are very witty, you know, have a presence about them. Do you know what I mean? You know how like Sherlock
And it just stands out a lot.
Yeah, and Suits, the main character in Suits, Harvey.
Suits?
Harvey Specter, just like the one that like stands out a lot.
Like
you
very
know?
confident,
Confident,
knows what he's talking about.
Yeah, sure of
It's
himself.
like knows the answers to his own questions. type of
Yeah,
thing.
I've always been fascinated by those characters. I think in terms of visually, my first really glimpse at what I was told is attractive, not from me, but basically what society was telling me was attractive, was actually Zac Efron from High School Musical, because that came out when I was in late elementary school. And I was very young, but I mean, everyone was going crazy about him. And so ultimately, I was now being told this is what we consider attractive, because I'm a child. I don't know what that means. So when someone goes, oh my God, he's so cute, I'm going to go, oh, okay, so that's what we think is cute. Okay.
We got it.
Okay, I got that. Let me write that down. All right, Zac Efron is equals cute. Cool. I'm going to ace that test. Got it.
You are a follower.
Yeah. Well, no, but like I was like 8.
You know what? I never thought Vanessa Hudgens was all that.
Really?
Nah, Selena Gomez.
There's no competition between the two of them. First of all, I thought both of them were very pretty. I think Vanessa Hudgens and Selena were my crushes growing up. I would always be very, not sad, but I'd be a little bit upset that I didn't look like them.
Why can't I be a short Latina like Vanessa?
I mean, I would watch her music videos. So Who Says, right, for Selena Gomez. And then Vanessa's.
Nerdy glasses.
Yeah, they were clearly, insinuating that they were not considered attractive. And I think that was very damaging on myself and how I viewed myself. I had a very low self-esteem, in terms of, what I look like. And I think it was very damaging in many, many other aspects. So I think representation is really important. I mean, not just that. Growing up, when I was learning how to do makeup, I was watching a bunch of YouTubers who were not Asian. Most of them were white, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that that's not my facial features. We have very different eyes, facial structure, noses, everything, right? So especially but the eyes were the biggest problem because they'd be doing elaborate art on their eyes
like
and
a whole
just
canvas.
Yeah, it's like a whole canvas. And listen,
You got a sheet of paper.
dude, I don't got that much space. You got a whole 20 by 24 canvas, and I have a little post-it note, okay? That's the comparison here. I don't have that kind of eyelid space, but as, someone who was new to makeup, I was trying to I'm good at following directions, so I would follow the YouTube videos accordingly, that as they were saying, like, what to do.
Your eyeshadow would be touching your eyebrow or what?
Listen, it was so bad. And there was not much representation, There was Michelle Phan. She was in Asia when she was like the first one. And I watched her too, but there was not a lot of them. And I think nowadays I'm so excited to be part of this generation, to see so much representation for, Mexicans, Asians, blacks, like African Americans, all sorts of people. It's just so cool.
It's cool that they're being inclusive.
They're being inclusive. I think it's good for children. Mm-hmm. Representation is so important because I actually saw a video where there was a little boy without a forearm and a hand. So it was just a little nub. A little nub, yeah.
Oh, a little nub.
And he met a grown woman who also had the same nub.
Nice.
Yeah. And you see him look at her and she does a little like nub bump. It's not a fist bump, it's a nub bump. And
it's a jab.
Yeah, and he's staring at her and he stumbles over. He can barely walk and she goes, "Oh, you wanna hug? Okay, come here." And she hugs and you could just see the joy on his face. And he's so young. I think he was, I don't know, 2? Very young. And I think that is a really good example of how important representation is, to feel confident and feel seen and acknowledged, and ultimately help build the self-esteem of children from a young age. Yeah. What about like you? Did you feel left out in a lot of media or?
My focus was never really about I didn't really notice anything about like representation.
Right.
I truly just wanted to watch something because I thought it was enjoyable and I thought I was going to like it.
Yeah.
But I really didn't think much of that. But now that I'm older, I do see the importance of it.
You're a much simpler person than I am.
I mean, I still am pretty simple.
Yeah. On that note, we're going to take a quick break. And I'm going to eat some sour strips while we're at it. And we'll be right back. And we're back. So, Nate, do you think that childhood movies have changed over time?
I feel like they haven't.
They haven't?
I feel like they keep repeating the same message over and over again. Like all the Disney movies nowadays, I feel like there's nothing new. It's just repeated over and over.
I would have to disagree with that.
Okay.
I think that Inside Out, for example.
Oh, okay. There's a few exceptions.
I think Inside Out was a first of its kind. I mean, none of the movies or anything that I watched, read, anything growing up encompassed the messages and the stories and the lessons in that they had in Inside Out.
And the way they portray like health and emotions,
mental
it's
health,
crazy. It's perfect the way they did it.
And just childhood development and how these core memories affect someone and how, ultimately it affects their decisions or their personalities. The way that they distinguished the emotions was extremely helpful to me as a 20-year-old because I struggled so much with identifying my emotions because they had anger, sadness, joy, disgust, right? And just having them being represented as characters and having that kind of a personality helped me realize that You are not your emotions. And yes, they have some kind of hold over you, but you are not them.
Mm-hmm.
And that was very mind-blowing to me that kids are now being introduced to this idea at such a young age, and it gives me hope for the emotional intelligence of this next generation.
And it's crazy because they use that movie now to help kids that have issues expressing themselves to be able to express their emotions.
Yeah.
And it's crazy how they utilize that. It's such a beautiful movie.
Right, and it's entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
It's education in the most entertaining way. And that's our philosophy for actually our podcast show is, and for most of our content is, we want to merge entertainment with education. I think that a lot of educational content is great, but a lot of times it's not extremely digestible. As someone who studies a lot and reads a lot of scientific papers, even me, I love watching educational content that is entertaining, right? And so our philosophy and our goal of this podcast is to discuss ideas, bring in our own experiences and stories, but also offer some sort of evidence to back things up and information to back things up. And that's why we have sources in all of our episodes, because we kind of want to merge that, Also, our mental health check-ins, hey, like this has been shown to help. I'm going to try it out. Let me know if it works for you.
Wow, it works. Maybe I should do it.
Maybe I should do it. I mean, in one of the first episodes we had, you implemented walking. You wanted to continue walking, and I started doing it, And I think that education doesn't have to be boring. We've come a long way from the lectures where the history teacher is just droning on and on and on about American history, right? We have Crash Course on YouTube. We have many different, more entertaining ways
Bill
to learn
Nye the
things.
Science Guy.
Right. And my philosophy or perspective on education has always been, it is not that we are not capable of memorization or, retaining information. You'll hear a lot of people, for example, like you, say, oh, I have a bad memory. But think about all the song lyrics that you remember, the quotes from movies and scenes from movies that you remember. Imagine if you could incorporate education with that. Wouldn't it help you retain all this information and knowledge a lot better?
Yeah, it would.
Right? I mean, think about how long ago you watched Iron Giant and you still remember that, right?
It's very impactful.
Yeah, it's impactful. So again, we oftentimes remember things a lot better if it resonates with us emotionally. And that's what happens with movies. It's inciting emotion inside of you, and you're going to remember a lot better. Same with dreams, right? You remember a lot more of the really, really good ones or the really, really bad ones. So I think that the movies nowadays are doing a way better job at that. And that's something I really wanted to do with our content too, is provide value and, of course, be entertaining. But hopefully you guys take a thing or two from this. And we're learning a lot. Me and Nate talk about
how much better we are at talking about our emotions and expressing ourselves.
Yeah. I mean, Nate called me a couple days ago and was talking about how he's really feeling that he's having an easier time, first of all, talking about emotions, but he's processing them a lot better. And these goals that we're setting for ourselves every week on what we want to do for our mental health or anything, right? Things that we want to incorporate has been really helping. The way we speak, right? The way we are able to convey our thoughts.
Yeah, not even in English for me. Like, it's also in Spanish.
Yeah.
Like, it's in both languages. Right. It's crazy.
Yeah. It's been great for both of us so far. And we hope that, you guys are also taking a little something out of our show.
Yeah.
Even if it's just a laugh or two, right?
I just really hope you guys love it as as much as we love
He's
it.
tearing up a little bit. He's got a little tickle on his throat.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we're very excited. But yeah, back to what I was saying. I think that movies nowadays are doing a lot better than the movies back then in terms of messages, lessons, and representation. Like we've talked about, the representation is crazy. I mean, for me, the first real Asian superhero, right? Shang-Chi. Then there was, well, actually before that was Crazy Rich Asians. And the current Netflix show that's been really popular is Beef. And that's a pretty much all Asian cast.
I've never heard of that show.
Yeah, I heard it's really good. I haven't gotten around to it because I'm a little scared to watch it because I know I'm going to relate a lot to it. That's the thing about representation is I think I'm going to be so emotional watching it because it'd be probably one of the first times I'm going to watch a show that's really going to hit home in terms of it. Turning Red, that Disney, was it Disney or Pixar?
Disney.
It was Disney? I don't remember. But it was, Turning Red, it was the movie about the little Cantonese girl. Mm-hmm. And I cried during that movie. And I've rarely cried from cartoons, like children movies like that, because it just related so much to me. And it was something that I was not used to. It made me feel very seen, very much seen and heard.
So that shows the importance of representation.
It does. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think it's so important. Yeah. I mean, with TikTok nowadays too, YouTubers, there's so many people of all sorts of backgrounds creating content. Of course, I still think there is a gap, but we're seeing some change. Yeah, we're seeing some change, and I really am grateful for that. And to be in that generation to see that happen. So that's really cool to me. Yeah.
Our generation saw lots of stuff.
Lots of stuff.
Lots of stuff.
Technology is rapidly improving. Were there any childhood movies that made you cry?
There was lots of them.
Don't say Marley and Me, because
oh my gosh. Okay.
I feel like everybody says Marley and Me, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing. But
so there's a movie even sadder than Marley and Me.
What?
It's called A Tale of Hachi.
What? I've never heard of that.
You've never heard of that movie?
Okay, I'll watch that when I'm ready to cry.
This one, you're going to bawl your eyes out. So this is...
Spoiler alert. This whole episode is spoiler alert, but yeah, go ahead.
So this movie, it's a real life story.
Oh, no.
It's a real life story about a dog in Japan. I think you might have heard of him, but he had an owner and he would walk with his owner every day to the train station.
Yeah.
He would wait for his owner to come back every day.
Stop. No. I'm going to cry already.
One time, he didn't come back. And the dog would not stop waiting for him there until he died. Yeah. It was the saddest movie ever. I'm ready to cry right now, but it was so sad. But it's a true story. That's what hit so hard.
Okay, moving on.
But another movie that did make me cry a lot when I was a kid, Bridge to Terabithia.
Yeah.
That one was such a sad movie.
I actually read the book.
Nice.
I didn't mean for it to come off.
What are you trying to say about that?
No, I didn't mean for it to come off like that. I swear. I'm so sorry. That was not the way I wanted it to come off. Anyways, for me, Forrest Gump. It's not a childhood movie, but Forrest Gump makes me cry.
Okay.
A lot.
Jenny,
life is like a box of chocolates. That
you
one.
never know what you're gonna get.
That's pretty good. You're very good. I really like Forrest Gump. It made me cry. The Blind Side made me cry.
Blind Side.
Yeah.
That was so sad.
Oof. Yeah. I think that it's odd. I think the movies that make me cry, I just remember it being sad. I don't remember it as a life-changing movie.
It's almost like you feel sad for them, but you can't relate.
No, it's not even like a sad for them. I'm just sad. I don't really think of anything else because it's just making me so sad. Yeah. But I think the most influential movie for me was Ratatouille. Growing up, my father was very adamant on not just innovation, but like I said, analysis of things. So being able to pinpoint what the main idea of anything was. So what the point of anything was. And so as a kid, we would go see movies or do anything, and we would come home, and before bed, he would ask me, what was the main idea of the story or of the movie? So we had gone to go see Ratatouille that night. We were in Taiwan at the time.
Oh, so you saw it in Thai?
No, we watched it in English, but it had Chinese subtitles.
Oh,
yeah.
Sorry,
and
Chinese.
yeah, Mandarin, Chinese.
Mandarin.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And anyways, we came home, we got ready for bed, showered, and then we laid down, and my dad came in and asked me, my brother, what the main idea of the movie was. And we're laying there, we're kids. I was very young, elementary school, and I didn't know, and I sat and thought for a while, and what I came up with was, doesn't matter who you are or what people think you can or cannot do, you can do it.
Ooh.
And, in this situation, it was a rat who wanted to cook. But I applied that to a lot of things in my life, like me being an EMT. If you think of an EMT, I am not what you think of. I am the exact opposite of what you think of. I am not white.
You're not tall.
Not tall.
You're not strong. You're strong.
I'm strong for my size, but I'm not super strong. I am just, not the EMT you would think of. And that shows in a lot of my comments, but I think it really heavily influenced me in the way that I view my ability to do something. If I put my mind to it, I can do it. Doesn't matter your background, what you look like,
if you're a
who
rat.
you are. If you're a rat, in this case, you can do it. And that was something I carried on through the rest of my life. And of course, my dad's adamant plan to make sure I knew how to always pinpoint what the main idea of anything was. And I think as a kid, I tell people this story and people would be so confused.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever been asked to analyze a whole movie like that.
Yeah. I was asked to analyze pretty much every movie I've ever seen.
Wow.
And
Had to write a report?
Not a report, but he would just ask me,
That's good, though.
Yeah.
That's good.
And I really learned how to be very analytical because of him, and I really appreciate that. So, yeah. What was your favorite part of Ratatouille?
My favorite part of Ratatouille. I feel like what I really liked about it is no matter what people told Remy, he knew that he loved to cook and
Right.
he enjoyed it and he didn't
Right.
let anybody stop him.
Yeah.
And I think that's great because I feel like in my life I've been told something's not going to work out or this is
Right.
not going to go how you
Yeah.
expect it to. But if I enjoy doing it, like, why can't I just do what I want to do?
I think, yeah, I really loved that, especially because there's that part in the movie where Remy figures out how to control him by using his hair. And I think that's very applicable to our lives. There may be a solution that you've never thought of. Right. And I mean, again, going back to that, the rat is the opposite of the kitchen. It is the abomination of the kitchen. Just like I am pretty much the abomination of EMS. I'm a representation of who shouldn't be in EMS in people's eyes, right? And I think that movie just really resonated with me, even to this day,
That's a really good
Yeah.
movie. And something that I do enjoy about that movie is I like the visuals and the way they express like the flavors and the food and the way just Remy eats.
Yeah.
It's just good.
Do you resonate with Remy in the way that he combines flavors with the cheese and the strawberry, the mushroom, putting the rosemary, climbing up to the top, and letting the lightning strike it to get a little toasty flavor. I think it's funny because I love weird food combos, and I do some weird things with my food. We should probably do some videos about that. And there are combinations of things that you never think are going to work, but it works. And I think that in itself is a lesson. You know, in life, we may not think that two things go together, but it can. It might, you know, and just to try it.
It just takes a spark of lightning.
Mm-hmm. I love his brother, Emil. The grape scene where he eats all the grapes and then it just all starts popping out. I love the ratatouille. I wanted to eat that so bad.
Yo, yes. Do you ever watch a movie or a show and you see something fictional?
But you want to eat it.
But you want to eat it?
Like the Krabby Patty.
I've always wanted to eat a Krabby Patty.
Did you know that I've never really watched SpongeBob in English? So growing up, I would, again, live in Taiwan for the summer, the 3 months, and we would really only be allowed to watch TV in Taiwan during the summers because there was no school, and everything is in Mandarin. Mm-hmm. So I would watch SpongeBob in Mandarin, genuinely. Like, so I, for the longest time, didn't know the theme song in English.
Can you say a little bit?
Okay. So it goes, so the SpongeBob SquarePants right? It's, 海绵宝宝, 海绵宝宝, 海绵宝宝. And 海绵 is sponge. And Bao Bao is Bob.
海绵宝宝. So is Bao Bao actually
I think that was
Bob,
just
or they just did it because like they needed another syllable?
Yeah, because there's no Bob in Mandarin. There's no like direct translation, so they just kind of did Bao Bao as
just to add another syllable.
I guess I don't know. Yeah. So
what about the "Are you ready, kids"? How do you say that?
I don't know. I don't remember that part. Yeah, my bad.
Boo, wow.
But yeah, I watched a lot of SpongeBob in Mandarin. Not a lot of it. If I did, it was in Mandarin. But a lot of people reference SpongeBob because it's kind of a common ground for our generation, and I don't understand. Because one, I didn't watch enough SpongeBob episodes, but if I did, it was in Mandarin, so I don't really remember the references. It happened a lot growing up because I think a lot of us shape our sense of humor due to what we were watching as a kid, but I didn't watch the same things as most children. So my sense of humor is completely out of whack. It's just super out of pocket. I think my humor, no one has ever really understand my sense of humor because it's just weird, you know?
I have the same exact one.
Yeah.
You know who my favorite person on the internet is right now?
Who?
Theo Vaughn.
Who is that?
Some guy that is just like internet personnel. He's so out of pocket. He says like the most out of pocket things, and
That's
it's hilarious.
funny.
You should watch him. He's cool.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not a really out of pocket person.
No, but he has no shame in saying it, and it's funny. It's
what? Do you remember any examples?
I don't want to repeat what he says.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's not appropriate for our type of show here.
With Theo Vaughn, you can say it.
Yeah, I don't know. I just, a lot of references I don't understand. You know those Adam Sandler movies that most people love, or Will Ferrell movies? I've never watched any of those. So I have a very...
Have you ever seen like Grown Ups?
No.
1, 2, or 3?
No.
No? Adam Sandler is so good.
Yeah, I think it's because I watched movies that my parents knew about, you know, when I was still young. And then when I got older... we didn't have TV. So we went straight to Netflix.
Okay.
And so on Netflix, I would stream TV shows that were more like teen appropriate. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I just was never exposed to those things. And then I think it was definitely detrimental to my ability to understand your, you know, common baseline humor that
I
a
wonder
lot of
you're
people
so
have.
bland.
I am very bland
Just
in a lot
kidding,
of
you're
ways.
not bland.
I'm a little bland, but I think I'm bland in that way, but I ultimately had to develop my own sense of humor. Where do you think your sense of humor came from?
I was having this conversation the other day with, I think it was my mom, my only friend.
My only friend. I'm your friend.
No.
Do you want a sour strip?
Yeah. But anyways, what I was talking about with my mom the other day is I feel like my sense of humor came from, it's kind of sad, but I would be bullying when I was a kid.
You
Like,
would be bullying or
No,
bullied?
I'd be bullied as a kid.
Okay.
Sorry. It sounded like I said bullying. Though. So I would be bullied as a kid. And the way that I would defend myself is I would make it into a joke. And ultimately just whatever they would tell me, I would joke about it and then make it about myself. So all the attention from his bullying was to my funny joke.
Give an example.
So, wow, you're so fat, you're huge. I'm like, oh, wow, no way. Like, I'll just make some funny note about it.
Yeah, you'd be like, yeah, I like to eat, so what?
Yeah, I like to eat. I could afford it.
That's a good comeback.
You see? Like, I need to be on the
Mic drop.
spot.
Yeah, well, I think, yeah, it probably builds the weight. It also is a defense mechanism, for sure. I think this sour strip is making my mouth water.
You know what? It shows the two different type of people. You eat the sour strip little by little. I just roll it up and shove it in my mouth.
Let us know which person you are.
You cool like me or lame like Sunny?
How do you eat Kit Kats?
Kit Kats? I'm not a monster. I break them apart.
You break them?
I break
you try
them
to do
apart.
them layer by layer sometimes?
I do it side by side. So I bite one side chocolate off and then the other side of chocolate. And then I leave the two top and bottom. So it's like a crispy chocolate sandwich.
What about fries? Are you a squirt ketchup all over it or dip it?
I was weird. So with fries, what I would do, I would bite the end with a straw. I'd poke a hole in the middle and then fill the inside with ketchup.
Of the fry?
Yeah. So it's like ketchup filled fry.
First of all, what? Second of all, how'd you even do that?
So you just bite the fry.
Yeah.
And then like you put the straw inside the mushy part of the fry and then you pull it out and it's like filled, takes out the filling. And then the bottles of ketchup, you squirt it in there and it's a ketchup filled fry. It's
like a jelly filled donut.
Kinda, yeah. It's like a filled in churro, but fries.
I'm mind blown right now. I want to try this. Yeah. I need to try this.
It's pretty cool. I like it. But
you could do it with In-N-Out sauce, secret sauce.
Yeah, you can do anything.
That sounds so good. What else did you do? Do you have anything else?
I ate my Subway sandwiches really weird.
How do you eat them?
I don't eat them like, you know how they're like this? I don't eat it from end to end. I eat it from side to side.
So you just go like this?
Yeah, like a typewriter. I don't know why I do that, but I think my thought process is most of the meat is on the inside of the sandwich. You know how like the bread opens up like this? The meat is like closer to the crease. So I just eat the veggies on the outside. I don't know. I eat everything like that. Like my pancakes, you know how the middle, it's like usually where the butter is? You don't eat
them layer by layer? You eat them all together?
I eat them all together and in a circle. Yeah.
Like clockwise?
Doesn't matter. I just leave the center where all like the syrup and butter like build up, and I eat that part a lot.
I like eating my pancakes layer by layer.
Huh?
Yeah. Like I don't like them all stacked together. I kind of move them like one layer at a time. Yeah.
Yeah, no. That's how I eat. It's weird.
Oh my God.
So weird,
I didn't know this about you.
I don't know if you've noticed too, but like when you've given me cookies, I eat the outside of the cookie first, and then I eat the center.
Like a cinnamon roll?
Cinnamon rolls, I do like unravel them and
unravel,
eat them.
Yeah.
I eat that like a fruit roll up.
Yeah, because the center is the best part. For sure.
Yeah.
I didn't know this about you. I'm learning so much.
Yeah, and when we're talking about shows.
That's so interesting. I gotta try this fry thing though.
Yeah, we'll do it.
Yeah.
We'll do a YouTube
Yeah.
video. I'll demonstrate how to do it.
Yeah. All right. Well, stay tuned for that YouTube video on how Nate makes ketchup-filled fries. And we will see you guys next week. Thank you for listening to Egg
And Bean Podcast.